Good evening, everybody. Just checking the audio. How we doing on audio tonight? Give me a thumbs up if the audio is working fine. Let me see if I've enabled the chat. This is the first time that I've done a live broadcast. Sultan Live. Yes, there we go. Okay, good, good. Super chats are enabled for those that want to donate. That is good. Excellent. Very good. Hey, so tonight, what we're dealing with is kind of I don't want to say a Q&A session, but I'm welcoming you into the evening with me in my man cave. We're going to talk about any issues that you want to talk about, things that are important to you. Specifically talking about recovering after breakups and divorces, if anyone wants to talk about that. I'm just calling this kind of grandfatherly advice. And not just surviving, but thriving. So you are not feeling alone. 15 years ago, when I went through a divorce, my hardest times were the weekends. During the week, it was fine. Now, here we are at the beginning of the weekend. And I feel that I didn't have anything like this available to me to tune into. When I was going through divorce, there weren't even smartphones at the time. And I'm doing all of this on my phone and YouTube. Thank you for that super chat, Jeremy. Appreciate that. This is perfect for me. Recently started the divorce process with my wife. Been very down. Been watching you since 2016. This live stream is perfect timing. Yeah, you know, if I had this when I was going through my divorce, oh my Lord. The weekend nights are the hardest. Northeast Pennsylvania in the house. The weekends are the hardest to deal with. Nights are hard. Weekends are hard. And I would say the weekend nights are the hardest, Friday and Saturday nights. Thoughts on loneliness during a refocusing phase? Yeah. Well, you're starting by being here. I think that's a good start by doing this. If this ends up being something that I consider successful, then we will do this every Friday night. Rather than watching television, Netflix, flipping through Tinder and Bumble and dating websites, Stroudsburg in the house. I did a commercial for a Kia dealership up in Stroudsburg several years ago. Mr. Crust, that's good, excellent. Welcome, everybody. Just for those that are just joining in, this is kind of it's going to be a group chat, Q&A. The focus of this evening is surviving and thriving after a breakup. And I want to consider it, Muskegon, Michigan is here, awesome. Colorado is here, Mooresville, Indiana. Puffing on this is a Savinelli 320. This used to be just regular wood. And then through the oils in my hands, it darkened. And I love it. And I'm puffing on vanilla custard pipe tobacco. Toronto's in the house. Seattle, Washington, Ontario. That's wonderful. Chicago, Texas. Yeah, weekends are the hardest. Jeremy, I would say if I had something like this when I was going through my divorce, and my separation, I think it would have made life a little bit easier. It's not just about surviving, it's about thriving, and it's about doing well. And almost like that oath that doctors take when they say, first do no harm. I really believe, Jeremy, that we can get into these self-destructive modes when we're lonely, when we're alone. We just don't give a damn. And I think it's important that we first do no harm to ourselves, which means going easy on the alcohol, going easy. Like one of the first things that I did when my marriage broke up many, many, many years ago. Now, this is grandfatherly advice for you. One of the things that I did was I determined not to have any alcohol or anything until the end of the year. Now, I was separated from my marriage, got legally separated in April, and I said, I'm not going to touch any alcohol because I enjoyed a cocktail until the end of the year. I wasn't going to let alcohol be the thing that calms me down. What I wanted to happen was I wanted to be able to first deal with my own issues, because if you put your pain off, if you delay your pain, guess what's happening? You're delaying it. You're just putting it off to a later time. So what I was going to do was just take the punch. And I think taking the punch was good for me versus drinking myself to sleep, getting high, having a revolving door of women in the new bachelor pad, the apartment. That did happen eventually. The revolving door, I did replace the regular door with a revolving door for a while. And then I think a lot of people go through that, but it was really hard because I was missing my wife at the time and missing my children and only seeing them. I went from seeing my kids whenever I wanted to all of a sudden now not seeing them. And I was outraged. And of course, you deal with anger when you go through that. And that's a really tough thing to deal with for most men. Breakups are very difficult on men. Women will replace you pretty damn fast. I think we take it harder than women. I do. I can't speak for women. I don't know if there's any women here. But I'm not looking for that kind of feedback. I really, truly believe that men take it pretty seriously. We get outraged. And rightfully so. I think it's righteous outrage. Woman here, okay, welcome to the group, appreciate it. We're talking about surviving and thriving after a breakup. Surviving and thriving after a breakup. First, do no harm to yourself. Has anyone ever done harm to themselves by getting drunk or getting high or getting drunk and high when you've had pain in your life? Let me know if you've been through that before. Have you been through that? That's tough, isn't it? It's tough. Yeah, it's and I titled this chat, You're Not Alone, because you're not alone. One of the biggest temptations that we feel when we go through crisis is that we're alone. We're the only one in the world. We are the only one in the whole damn world. Thank you for that super chat, Jeremy. Appreciate that. Absolutely. It's betrayal. That's what it feels like. We feel like we are... Oh, and I am accepting super chats, everybody. That is something that I opened up for tonight's chat. If anybody wants to donate to the process, that's fine. This is giving of my time and My time is valuable as your time is valuable. Friday night, I'm not going out. This is not date night for me. My date night is Saturday night. I still have to get up quite early in the morning to go to the salon tomorrow. So I like to be in bed at a fairly decent hour. We'll be on this tonight for an hour. I'm guessing an hour. If it goes well, we'll go longer. But we've never done this before, and I want to be able to provide this service on a Friday night that I'm not out partying or out with anyone. And so like I said, I have to be up early in the morning. But Jeremy, what I would say is, first, do no harm, because there's a temptation to fall back on vices or create new vices, especially if you don't have the tools. Like right now, I'm outside in a shed. I have a heater going, and this is where I smoke a pipe. Those of you that have never, ever been live with me before, if you were live with me on Instagram and Periscope at times, you would see me fire up a pipe. And I have all my tools out here. Anything that I need, the tools that aren't damaged by the cold, because I think it's now about 10 degrees. If I need to drill a hole, I have drill bits out here. Drills, clamps, hammers, wrenches, screwdrivers. I have tools to get the job done. And when you're going through a breakup, whether it be a divorce or the breakup of a relationship or a long-term relationship or some kind of heartache, many of us don't have the tools that we need to get through that. And what we possess are the tools that were modeled for us. If you're the kind of guy that's a wall puncher and a door slammer, guess what you do every time you have conflict and you don't know what to do? You punch a wall and you slam a door and you break things. And it hurts. Like, trying to read this here. Felt like a damn car accident. My heart and guts were a mess. That's true. You feel it inside. I asked a question on Twitter. What keeps men awake more? Breakups, finances, or a super freak? So we'll see what that poll is like. We'll see what those responses are like. But getting through the early days of a breakup and thriving, first do no harm. And that's a hard thing to do. Thank you everybody for the super chats. I appreciate it. That's a symbol of your appreciation, and it shows me that my work is valuable. And if I didn't feel my work was valuable, I would move into a different direction. But thank you for the super chats. Are when you donate money. My priority is to people who donate money for the cause, and they go to the top of the line as far as questions are concerned. Okay. First, do no harm. Secondly, do what is good for you. But at first, it's the hardest thing to get over is doing no harm. The alcohol and the drugs. I mean, on the wall behind me, I have all kinds of pipe tobaccos. I have some alcohol right here. I have some alcohol right there. I have some alcohol down here. It's a nice place to come out and have a nightcap. Relax a little bit, have a cocktail. All within moderation. Hey, for those that are new, welcome to the Grandfatherly Wisdom Hour. This is surviving and thriving after a breakup. And I just want to let everybody know that you're not alone. Because the biggest temptation that you are going through when you go through a breakup is that you're the only one in the world going through it. And you're not. It's nice to know, I don't want to say it's nice to know that other people are suffering along with you, but the first thing that you feel is that you're alone. And I don't want you to feel alone. That's why I'm doing this Friday night thing. I think it's important that we do this. If you have a pipe, feel free to fire it up and join me. That's a good thing. I'm smoking this baby like a freight train, man. I love it. So for about the first 6 months of my separation, I didn't touch alcohol because I wanted to take the punch. I knew that if I delayed the pain, I knew that I'm only going to feel it later. And I know people that have been drunk for months at a time. And I wasn't about to drink myself to sleep. Although there was a temptation to do so. Now, this is 15 years ago. This is a long time ago. So what I did was I started hitting the gym and putting the energy out there. Thank you for that super chat. That's appreciated. I started hitting the gym more than I ever did back in that day, and that was very hard. Tim Anderson, thank you very much. Appreciate. Oh, look, you know what? I'm back on the super chats. Tim Anderson, thank you. It's not scrolling. It's not. What's the word? Retired police officer handled many male suicides. Yes, sir. I appreciate that. South Texas, rollerblading. Oh gosh, I'm way behind. Pakistan is in the house. 248 people online. I'm not smoking weed, no. $10 super chat. Gold is Bond Wealth Network. Hello, George. I broke it off with my ex of 5 years. She was a separated mother of 2 who never ended up leaving her husband. She also cheated on me, but helped me in my life in a major way. Gotcha. That's a really hard thing to go into a relationship with someone who's only separated. You convert my videos into audio. That's fantastic. I will be doing a podcast soon. Jonathan Maddox, $25. I appreciate the super chat. Nick Piper, $300. It hurt like hell. Pipe smoking was the solution for me. It helped me relax and refocus. Sir, I understand that. I understand that because it's the ultimate tool of mindfulness. It really is. My glasses are not dirty. The phone is, I'm doing this on my phone, so it's going in and out of focus. Now I'm hoping that the chats, I'm hoping in real time that I'm getting these things in real time here. Hold on a second here. This is my first time doing this. Tonight we're talking about you are not alone when you're dealing with your divorce and your breakup. First, do no harm. Secondly, do good for you. That's what you need to do. In other words, I remember wanting to drink myself to sleep, wanting to fuck strangers, just to get it out. It was weird. Thank you for those that are joining. Tonight, our topic is You Are Not Alone, Surviving and Thriving After a Breakup or a Divorce. On a Friday night. The reason why I'm doing it on Friday night is because nights are hard enough as it is. Weekends are very difficult. A man can feel very alone on a weekend night, extremely alone. And I want those that are feeling that loneliness right now to feel like you have a friend. And I think that's important because, as I said, yes, $5 super chat. Thank you, sir. Suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I've said that for many years now. There's a temptation to feel like you're the only one in the whole world. Like you walk out into public. Let's say you go to a mall and you're going through a breakup and people are looking at you, and there's this weird psychological temptation to feel that people are... I did thank the $300. Yes, I did. I answered his question. There's a temptation, and I'm not going to deal with that bullshit because I'll block your shit in about 5 seconds. So knock it off. Stay on topic here, please. There's a temptation to feel, even when you are out in public, when people look at you, you feel like they know what you're going through. You're walking through the mall, and people will say something to you. Thank you for that super chat, whoever just gave that last one. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. You're recovering. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. I get it. You feel like people are identifying your pain, even when a stranger looks at you in a mall or on a street. I don't mind having a female here. No, I don't. This is for human beings. And there are some people that can detect your pain. And I think you're especially paranoid when you're going through pain. You're very focused. You're in your head. You're in your head. And I tell people, get out of your head when you're going through pain. That's super important to not have to put yourself through what's the word? Jabberwocky, it's all good, man. It's all good. Thank you for the super chat. That is not an issue. Not an issue. Don't worry about it. Listen, this is grandfatherly wisdom tonight. That's what this is. It's grandfatherly wisdom on a Friday night. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. Maybe I'll do this on Friday nights if it's something that people value. Let's go back to tools for coping with your new lifestyle. If all you've ever had modeled for you, or all you've ever been taught, is punching walls and slamming doors and raising your voice, that's how you respond to crisis and chaos and trauma and conflict. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is called You Are Not Alone, Surviving and Thriving Through a Breakup. No matter who you are in the world, you are not alone. You are not alone. So the only thing that you know is what you've been taught. If you have not been taught, let's say, did you ever notice your father, when he got into a fight with somebody, a verbal argument with your mother, did he say, okay, let's just breathe deep now. Let's just calm ourselves down? No. They slammed doors, they yelled, they cursed. That's what you were taught. That's how you react to things. And that is so difficult to deal with. It's so hard to deal with that. Because when you encounter conflict, the first thing that comes to your mind is what your instinct is. Like, for instance, if I have an itch right here, biology and nature tells me scratch the itch to relieve it. You don't think like, okay, I need to raise my hand and put it on the spot that's itching and then move my hand up and down. You just instinctively reach up and scratch the itch. When it comes to pain and conflict that you've never felt before, the kind that you experience when you're going through a breakup or a separation, that behavior you are experiencing for the first time, your exposure to a new kind of pain. Heartache, there's no Band-Aid for a heartache. You scrape your knee, you can what? Wash the wound and put a Band-Aid on. Am I right? Think about that. What do you reach for when you have pain inside your head or your heart? Most people will reach for the alcohol. Most people will smoke a bowl. Some people will go to a bar and some men will go and bring a girl home. A girl will bring a guy home. Say goodbye, not even know who the person is, think it feels good, have a few moments of pleasure, but guess what? The pain is still there the next day. First, do no harm. Secondly, do what is good for you. So you need your sleep, and that's easy for a person to say who, that's easy for me to say, get sleep. Because the first thing you're going to struggle with is your sleep. You're going to lay there at night and hours are going to go by and you're going to be replaying the videos, the loops of your lover's voice, your children, if you're divorced. You're sleeping on a friend's couch, on a mattress somewhere, in your car, in a little bachelor pad. It's going to be difficult. How do you deal with it? If you don't if you don't have the tools, take my word for it. If you don't have the tools for dealing with it, what happens is you end up dealing with it in a negative way. I just think by default, we go to negative things. And we want to get high, and we want to get drunk as quick as possible. And we go to dating websites, which it's easy. There wasn't dating websites when I initially got divorced. There was no such thing as a dating website. $9.99 super chat from Lydon. Career firefighter, paramedic. Father was also a career. I believe he committed suicide due to the pain from his job and the divorce of my mother. Yeah, that's painful. It's painful, isn't it? Just to even think that. And there's a temptation to feel that it's genetic. If you had someone deal with some rough, if you had someone commit suicide in your family, you might feel, there's that weird delusion that we all have that, well, maybe I have that gene. Maybe that's what my future is like. Maybe the same maybe the same type of scenario that pushed all their buttons is going to push my buttons and we feel more fragile. You don't know if you are anti-fragile or non-fragile until you go through some dark times. That's why I'm doing this on a Friday night. Because Friday and Saturday nights are rough for the average person going through a breakup or a divorce. Jeremy, thank you for the super chat. I feel immensely better already. It's so nice to hear this from someone who's been through it. This could be the best advice I have asked for. Yes, sir. To help one person get through. Just one person, man. Here it is, 8 o'clock in the East Coast, northeast of the United States. I don't know, it's what, 5 o'clock in California, and 4 o'clock in Alaska. I don't know where you're all coming from, where you're all in. 270 people on right now. That's powerful. That's powerful. Drinking hot tea with honey. That's awesome. Is it bad to be alone or prefer it that way? It's not bad to be alone. It's not bad to be alone. It's okay if you are alone. It's okay for you to be alone. You discover more when you are by yourself than when you are out and about. When you are with somebody, you're always on. The true you comes out when you are alone. I learned how to spend my holidays out in the woods. I go hiking, as you might know. I go hiking on major holidays. I take day trips and do day hikes, and I pack my lunch in a backpack. And I have lunch next to a waterfalls, in an open field, alongside of a river or a lake, and I'm alone. And what I did was, because the most painful things for me were the holidays, initially when I went through my divorce. It was difficult only because I had all my holidays with my family. When my family was no longer around through divorce, holidays were painful. So I started the habit of going out in the wilderness on holidays. And it was difficult because I should be celebrating and popping corks on champagne bottles and wine bottles and toasting people and unwrapping presents and giving presents and eating big meals on a table. And yet there were some holidays where I was sitting there with Kraft macaroni and cheese and Spam, feeling sorry for myself, or a hoagie on a holiday. I remember once on a Thanksgiving many years ago, I went to Wawa, which is a convenience store in the Philadelphia area, convenience store chain. I think the chain is now throughout 9 states. If you know what Wawa is, raise your hand. And I got a turkey hoagie, and someone said to me, "Hey, you having turkey, or what are you doing for Turkey Day?" And I said, "I'm getting a turkey hoagie." And they laughed at me. Like, "Oh, knock it off, really? No. What are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And I said, "I'm dead serious." And I had a dead serious face. I said, "I'm dead serious. I'm getting a turkey hoagie, and I'm going out for a walk." They're like, "Oh, that's so sad." I go, "No, it's not sad. It's not sad. I've learned to enjoy my own company." People who say being alone is a sad thing they're revealing a lot about themselves. If you can master being alone, you've mastered life. Tonight's topic is you are not alone, surviving and thriving a breakup or divorce. This is a 7LE 320 author pipe. Hey, if you got a pipe, fire it up, man. Ralstonian, thank you for the super chat. That's much appreciated. PayPal is Alpha5477. First, do no harm. Secondly, do good to yourself. I went through a stage where I was dating a lot of women at the time. Using women like drugs. That wasn't a good thing. This is many years ago. And when women go into your bathroom, they look through your medicine cabinet. They look at things. And knowing that, I remember going into the bathroom and taking the blonde hair girls out of my brush, because women use your hairbrush, guys. Right, ladies? For the ladies that are on this, you know, when you're at a guy's house, you will use a man's hairbrush in his bathroom if you see it there. And I remember going in to the bathroom and seeing blonde hair in my hairbrush. And I'll never forget, the dark-haired girl was there and said, "So whose blonde hair is it in your hairbrush?" So that made me paranoid. So as I was inviting ladies over my house, I was making sure there was no trace of the previous woman. Taking the blonde-haired girl's hair out of the hairbrush so the brown-haired girl wouldn't see the blonde hair. And then I started saying things like, "Oh, that's my daughter, because my daughter has blonde hair." And then if a woman stayed the night, they leave things. Pair of panties on the back of the doorknob in the bathroom that you don't see. When you ever notice, for guys that are by themselves, tonight this is called You Are Not Alone, Surviving and Thriving a Breakup or Divorce. And when you're alone, when you're living alone in your house, you don't shut the bathroom door when you take a shower, right? You don't close the door when you're sitting on the can. There's really you don't need privacy because your whole house is private. So I wasn't used to closing the bathroom door. So I literally had a pair of woman's panties hanging on the back of the doorknob, behind the door. And a woman saw that and said, "Oh, okay." And I thought, oh my God, do I have to go through the house constantly before a new woman comes over and make sure I remove all traces of previous women? To this day, I still have a pair of earrings that a girl left on my nightstand, dangling, beaded earrings that were long. And I'll never forget, she took them off and she put them on my nightstand. And then I'm like, oh my God, whose earrings are these? I kind of forgot. And then I'm like, okay, it was this one here. And then I saw her I saw her about 6 months ago on social media. And she says, "Hey, what's going on, brother?" I'm like, "Brother?" Amazing timing with this topic. Keep up the great content. Hope for more live videos. Best wishes from Sweden. Thank you for the super chat, sir. That's appreciated. "Hey, what's up, brother?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute. The last time I saw you, I was banging your head into the headboard. And now I'm your brother? Oh, by the way, I have your earrings." She's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, the earrings that you took off about 10 years ago, they're still on the top drawer of my nightstand." I'm not sure if she blocked me at that point or not. She was married. Again, that marriage broke up. And now she's working on number 3 or 4. And that's one of those thank God for unanswered prayers things, because I'm thinking, first thing I'm thinking is, what if I ever married her out of loneliness, out of not wanting to be alone? And a lot of guys will do that. A lot of guys will be like, holy cow, I might need to marry this woman. She's a keeper. Yeah, sounds like a keeper. And I just can't do that. And I was tempted to fall in love a few times. I doubt Tom Jones' wife questioned where the panties came from. Yeah, exactly. We're talking about you are not alone, surviving and thriving through a breakup. So through a period of time, I learned that alcohol is not the answer. Weed is not the answer. It makes you feel good for a small period of time. But then your pain is there when it's done. Women can be a drug as well. You numb your pain, or you distract yourself from pain by using people and things. You fall in love quick. You meet somebody who is newly separated, and you are newly separated. So you have two people that have been uprooted. Now that is a recipe for disaster. But you feel like, wow, you're going through it too. Son of a gun. I'm going through it too. You mean your spouse was abusive? So was mine. Wow, we have so much in common. You didn't have sex for the last year of your marriage? Neither did I. And you feel like you have these weird things in common with somebody, and you're tempted to fall in love or feel something. Good morning, beautiful. How you doing, baby? What's up, sweetie? Thinking about you. And you create the language of a 10-year relationship within 10 days. Do you hear me? Don't use the language of a 10-year relationship if you've only been together 10 days or even 10 months. Tonight we're talking about being alone. You are not alone. It's a Friday night. And for those of you that are single, going through a breakup or a divorce, there's a temptation to feel very dark. There's a temptation to feel like it's the end of your life. There's a temptation to feel like you can never be happy again. And you feel a lot of pain, confusion, And if you numb it with drugs, alcohol, or a lot of sex with other people, there's no upside. You create layers of problems. There's a scene in the movie Platoon where a gentleman gets shot, and if he's yelling too loud because of the pain from the bullet, his commander comes over and puts his hand on his mouth and says, "Take the pain, take the pain." The guy was just writhing in pain, and there was the enemy walking in the woods not far away, and the guy who got shot was like, "Ah, ah, ah," like that. And the commander was like, "Take the pain, take the pain, take the pain." And the guy was going, "Ah, ah, mm, mm, mm." And what happened was he didn't draw fire from the enemy because he was having a huge demonstration of pain. Don't have a big demonstration of pain because it will draw fire and hurt you more. You will draw people in who want to rescue you. People who collect broken things, and then when you're no longer broken, you're history. Thank you for the super chat, Don. Appreciate that. So you wake up on a Saturday morning. You wake up on a Saturday morning and you say, "I made it through Friday night. I made it through Friday night. Now I have to get through Saturday and Saturday night." But that seems so far away, doesn't it? Now that it's Friday night. Lessons learned going through a breakup or a divorce. You are not alone. No, you can't fix a broken relationship. No. For those that just joined, I am accepting super chats. If you have a pipe, fire it up. If you have a cigar, fire it up. Pour yourself a drink. Ralstonian, yes, I am in the Van Gogh room. This is a huge bowl, and it lasts almost an hour, believe it or not. What you see behind me is tobacco that I grew right here. That's tobacco right there that I grew in my backyard. You're in the business of staying alive. You're in the business of thriving. First, do no harm. When I first got separated, I remember going to Burger King and ordering cheeseburgers and only eating the meat and the cheese. throwing the bun and all that other crap away, because I wanted to eat what would keep me alive. I was a minimalist. I figured I lost the most important thing in my life, which was my marriage and my family. I did not leave my wife for another woman. And it was hard because I was raised really believing that marriage was going to make me happy, and it did for a long time. It truly did. But I was in denial that it was ending. And when it ended, I had to regroup physically, mentally, emotionally. It took me years to be able to repackage my story. People said, so what's your story? What happened to you? Or what's going on with you? And that was a real hard thing to deal with, to package. I told the story 20 different ways until I could package it up and tell it clearly without getting emotional. Now this, like I said, this happened to me 15 years ago. I'm solid, I'm strong. I had a great career. I have a great career now. For those of you just joining, this is grandfatherly wisdom. You are not alone, surviving and thriving through a breakup or a divorce. But here's the hope. You can survive this. You will get through this, Jeremy. You will get through this. It's a storm. In the middle of a storm, you don't feel like the rain's going to stop, do you? On the other side of those dark clouds is the sunshine. And there is that temptation to feel like you are the only one in the whole world going through it. Manny, thank you for the super chat. Friday nights are hard. Some people laugh at morning routines. You know, you know how I get up and I do my daybreak show. You know when that started? I used to get up pretty early when I was married. And I remember getting up at 4:30. I was in the gym at 5. Worked out for 45 minutes, went to a little diner, had a small breakfast, a couple pieces of toast and a couple eggs. I was back home by about 6:15 in the morning. I would go into the baby's room, take the baby out of the crib, bring the baby into our bedroom, mom and dad's bedroom, and have what we call snuggle bug time. We played snuggle buggy. That was our, I'm trying to, God, it's been years. I mean, this goes back. Played snuggle buggy. So baby number 3 would be with mama in bed under the covers. And then I would and then after they fell asleep, I went downstairs and put the coffee on, making breakfast for everybody. And then I started my day. Either went to work And then she got ready and she went to her work. For older people, that's very difficult. Being a widower is very difficult. When my mom was in the hospital for a hysterectomy, I remember my dad saying, "I can't even boil water." And she was in the hospital. It was a planned surgery, and I'll never forget, she made all these meals and put them in Ziploc bags and like those little snap top containers. And she would tell my dad, "Now take this out and microwave this for dinner. You're on your own for lunch. Make a sandwich or whatever." And my dad was like, "What do I do if she's in the hospital for 4 days?" I'm like, "Really? Are you kidding me? You can't even make dinner?" Rational Male is a great read. Rollo is a wonderful friend. You know my inner circle. Let me tell you who my inner circle of guys are that we communicate minimum 100 to 250 times a day. Let me tell you who's in my inner circle. And we're on a private email where we just communicate with each other. Me, Rich Cooper, Rollo Tomasi, Ryan Stone, Hunter Drew, Ivan Throne, Swift, Sean T. Smith, Donovan Sharp, Alexander Cortez. Who else? Socrates. Who else? Jack Murphy. Most of the guys that you saw me interview, that's my tight inner circle. Do we all agree with each other? No, of course not. Find two men that agree on anything. But we're very tight, and we have each other's backs constantly, 7 days a week, which tells you this: you need a support network. You are not alone. If I needed something from any one of those guys now, I could get on the phone and any one of those guys would jump on a plane or do whatever it takes to help me. I would do the same with them. So they're not just the red pill guys and manosphere guys. These are my friends that I trust. And when you're going through stuff, you need people that you can trust and talk to without, yes, that is a hell of a network. Imagine where all your friends are best-selling authors. That's kind of fun, isn't it? And we all respect each other. We all have our own strengths. I don't pretend to do what Rollo does. I don't pretend to do what Richard Cooper does. I don't pretend to do what anyone does. And they don't pretend to do what I do. We all have separate and distinct personalities and stories and ways of dealing with things, and respect each other's areas of expertise. It's a great network. So you need a network. And it took me a long time to find a circle of friends that I could trust. Everett Overton is on. Everett, I appreciate your channel. If you guys don't know Everett, EO, check him out. Good channel, good guy. Young man, I'm very, very proud of his work and what he's doing. Wisdom beyond his years. And you know, there's a temptation for many people to want to emulate and copy other people, and I like originals, and Everett's an original. So thank you, Everett. Much respect to you. But build a network for yourself. A network that's respectable. Don't be tempted to surround yourself with women, guys. And I know we have women watching this as well, but here's some advice. My beard and hair used to be black, dark as my eyebrows. Swarthy complexion, dark, Hispanic, Middle Eastern looking guy when my hair was darker. Now I'm like an old white-haired Gandalf. My beard used to be very long. And in 1 year, my hair turned white. In 1 year. Literally, there were some pictures of me, dark hair. A year later, white. Just like that. But during the time that my hair was darker, I was always surrounded with women. Always. If you look at my Instagram, it was just me and my harem constantly. Constantly around women. And getting comfort from women. Did it feel good? Yes, of course it did. But it was like juggling all the time, and I didn't want to juggle. I couldn't keep juggling. And only until I developed a solid network of men could I actually find healing. Women were like a drug. Because when a woman would leave my apartment, it was the same thing as waking up after being drunk. My problem was still there. I felt good for a period of time. And I used women. And I'm not putting anyone down. I know there's a lot of, what's the word? A lot of encouragement to spin plates. And I get that. I understand that. 100% understand that. And I get it. I don't confirm or not confirm or condone that. You have to do what's right for you. But I used women like a drug. I shouldn't say I used them. I utilized them. Yes, utilize them. Using people means you're hurting people. I wasn't into that. If anything, men fall in love too fast. And like I said, you start using the language of a 10-year marriage in 10 days. Honey, beautiful. Good morning, beautiful. It feels good, doesn't it? It's not a good thing. People are a horrible drug. People are horrible as drugs. They really are. Tonight we're talking about You Are Not Alone, surviving and thriving after a breakup or a divorce. Grandfatherly wisdom. Good men sometimes fall in love with being in love. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Spinning plates can be bad. Yeah, there's no... a lot of people talk about how good it is. Very few people talk about the downside of it. This is the tobacco that's in this pipe is this is Vanilla Custard by Sutliff. Well, gentlemen and ladies, however many ladies that we have, I just want to say thank you for joining me tonight. I hope that a little bit of what I said, some of the grandfatherly wisdom, helped you out. My goal for those that are going through breakup and divorce, I can't stop your pain, but I can help minimize it by talking about my experiences And I know you're going through difficult times. I know that, man. I know that. It's the hardest thing. And if we want to do this every Friday night, we can do that. Friday night, I don't go out. I never go out on Friday nights. After work today, I went over to the other salon where Chrissy was. And uh, many of you guys know Chrissy. She was a gal that I worked very close with at one salon. And haven't seen her in a while, so we went and spent some time with her. Uh, and then I usually come home on Friday nights. Saturday nights, I like to go out somewhere, maybe go out to eat somewhere. Sunday nights, I like going out to a rock and roll club and watching music, which is my favorite thing to do, is go watch live music, watch bands. For those of you that don't know me, I work in a salon. I have a men's grooming studio in a salon. Let me give you just a little bit of a background real quick. I have a master's degree in education with a concentration in clinical counseling. And I did that for 22 years and cut hair part-time. I taught in 5 colleges. I was a psychotherapist for 2 decades. And then I stopped doing that in I stopped doing that in like maybe 2004. And I jacked up my hair career, and I believe in going to the top in whatever you do. So my goal is never to compete, but to dominate. And I wanted to be the top men's stylist in the world. That was my goal. And this was even in the days before social media, before you could take pictures of things and do videos. People come from 8 countries and 22 states to get their hair and beard done. That's just the men alone. And then I started this channel 3 years ago, and I feel a burden, a heaviness in men today. And my goal is to help people. Not only those that sit in my chair where I give them a haircut and a beard trim and wax their ears and nose and all that kind of stuff. I like making people look good. That's what I like to do. But when I started this channel, I realized that I was attracting a lot of men who had some issues. And some people made fun of me for using this method to reach hurting people and people that are stuck, because I always talk about getting unstuck. And my response is, it's the sick that need a doctor, not the well. So if you need something, you'll get something from this channel. If not, then it might be just entertainment for you. And that's okay too. And I have a huge female following as well, and I appreciate my female followers as well. What I don't want to do is, this is not someone said, you made a move from doing men's grooming to a woman bashing channel. No. Because I like helping. Because you like strengthening men doesn't mean you dislike women. I can enjoy women and help men on the same channel. Those two concepts can coexist. I know a lot of red pill guys think that you have to have a certain attitude. And I get that, 100% get that. I 100% get that. And at certain stages of your life, you might need to have a certain attitude in order to remain sane. Hey, I'm going to end it for now. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Appreciate the super chats tonight. Remember, you are not alone. You are not alone. You're going to make it till tomorrow morning, and then you'll make it through Saturday night, and then Sunday night, and then back to work on Monday. You are not alone. Good night.